In today's video, I would love to show you guys exactly how I made this super different piece. As you can see behind me, there's a lot of the art that I've created over the years, and you don't see much orange. And I decided to do a chaotic video, a chaotic art creation, because I was just feeling a little bit stuck, and this is what I ended up creating. I think it's really cool, and I hope you guys love this video. So I had been making tons of stuff, trying to figure out how to make certain things, and I just felt so frustrated because I was looking around and I was surrounded by beautiful flowers, but nothing was organized, and it was just driving me crazy, and it was making me feel like I couldn't be creative. And I just pulled out a fresh canvas and I started putting colors on the canvas, and I decided to see what happens. And well, you can see I started off with some, it's like a deep red and an Indian yellow color mixture, and it comes together and it creates this really warm orange. And that, for me, right off the bat, is a very non-typical choice for me. So instantly I knew it was going to be a crazy flowerscape, and I love making these flowerscapes when I've got a ton of flowers that I really enjoyed making, but they weren't really made for a specific bouquet, and so they kind of don't have a specific harmony. So it kind of comes down to me at the end, like where I'm placing them together on the canvas, to make them look harmonious. And so sometimes that can be kind of tricky. But I was feeling just frustrated and looking for something wild and crazy, and this was the perfect opportunity to just go with it. You know, sometimes you just really need to go with it and let the flow kind of take you wherever, and then you can kind of see what happens. And that's really what I wanted to do here. And I had a lot of flowers that were warm colors, and so I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna mix up a warm green, and I'm just gonna start piping, and I'm just gonna start placing flowers, and I'm gonna see what the heck even happens here. You can see here I just tossed some extra flowers that I actually wasn't going to use, and I just let them be texture for the background, and I just piped right on top of them, and it was crazy. And you can see all the different colors that are just flowing through as I'm piping, with the white behind the yellow and the green. It just creates so many color variations, and that's just really cool. I love it. I think it's just super unique. So basically, I just started piping, and I just followed the shape that I had placed with my background colors. You can see there's a sense of flow in the background already with how I applied the paint. So I just kind of decided to start piping in a shape and then kind of see what ends up happening. And then I just added a little more white paint, and I just let the colors bleed out until they got lighter and lighter. And then I started placing my flowers, and you can see all the colors I had. They're just bright, they're vivid, they're super vibrant. I love it. I think it's super duper cool. And of course that white one just comes in perfectly and complements the brightness even more. And I just had such a variety of colorful flowers. And you can see these just all look like they go with this orange background. It really worked out well. And then I just decided to take a different piping tip and a different shade of green. And once again, you can see it's also warm green. And I just started piping away, and I started to feel a little bit more of that creativity coursing through me. And at this point is usually where I just kind of, my mind takes a back seat, and I basically just start observing my hands as they're creating things. It's kind of a weird experience to explain, but it's almost like I'm not thinking, I'm just channeling creativity. And I really love being in that state. Like, that's one of my main obsessions in life, is just to be in that state of flow. I love it so much. And so here, this painting is such a great representation of what it looks like when I'm in the flow. And then you can of course see the creation that comes of it is also usually just very different, you know, and that's something that's really cool, is because you kind of get to see different styles emerge. Even though it's you making it, it doesn't feel like you. It doesn't feel like the you that you've known, if that makes sense. So I just love to do experimental stuff because it shows me new versions of myself, and it allows me to find new ways of creating and make new creations that might inspire me and influence me for future creations. And I just love that so much. I love living. Living's kind of fun. So I just love to be inspired and kind of go with the flow and experience all of that cool stuff. And of course you can see how well this is coming together. I've got some deep reds, I've got some bright pinks, I've got yellow, and I mean, even some blue in there, but it's the kind of blue that just, it goes with all the other colors. It's hard to explain, but it just works. And I really had a lot of fun just playing around with the piping tip and seeing, okay, if I do like short, barely there strokes, it looks like this. Or if I do like a really big dollop of one thing, oh, how does that look? And it's all the same piping tip, but if it's applied in different ways, it comes across as a different greenery type. And that's just really cool. And so when I make these flowerscapes, and I do so much piping on the background to fix those flowers in with the wet paint, then I really like to play around with the piping tips and see what shapes I can make and how to apply it and make it look cool and fun and interesting. And I play around a lot. That's pretty much, I guess, what I'm saying. I just play around a lot and see what happens. And of course, I always love to add details, so I decided to take some bright orange here and put it in a round piping tip. And I just started piping some small detail flowers, and that was really fun too, because these flowerscapes are so much fun to me because there's so much space to create giant flowers and also teeny tiny details all in the same piece. And I just really enjoy doing that. I think that's really cool. And of course, a round tip is always what I like to use to pipe my name. I think they are the neatest. And that's just really cool for me too. I love that I get to add a textured signature. And I'm always trying to make them look neater. So sometimes I will actually pipe them on acetate or wax paper and then peel them off. And then I can choose the best signatures to add to a painting. But if I don't have a signature piped in the color that I want to use, then I will usually just pipe it straight on the canvas. So I guess you might call me reckless, but it is just what I do. Especially on a piece, actually, you know, in a video called The Chaos Painting. So, you know, of course you gotta be reckless, come on. I decided to add some wire stamens, and I think this is a floral wire. It's pretty thick, it's pretty heavy. So you probably wouldn't need this heavy of a wire, but it's just what I had, so I just made it work. And then I just piped some wet paint and I stuck the wire into it. But of course, if you're gonna do this, make sure you let it dry before you start doing the next step. Otherwise, you're just going to move around the wires too much and you don't want them falling out. So I just let it all dry, and I think it looks pretty exciting. Like, oh, so much 3D stuff. Oh, it's so cool. I love it. And then of course I just piped more interesting stamens, more tiny flowers, and I kind of ended up going with a crazy addition to these sunflowers. I don't know why. I was just feeling a little crazy, so I decided to go for it. And I don't really like how it looked, but I mean, what am I gonna do? Remove it? I don't think so. So this is the second part of the Stargazer Lily centers, and you can see I just inserted the wire inside the piping tip, and then I piped as I pulled out. And it looks really cool, but I did have to do 2 rounds of it just to make sure that the wire was completely covered. But this is why it's important that the center is dry before you do that, because you don't want to jostle those stamens. And then I of course painted the inside of the Stargazer Lily, and I made it look cool. And then here I'm just adding some finishing touches. You can see how bright the sun was shining, so I thought it looked kind of cool. And yeah, I mean, this lily I think is just the best part of this piece, which is just really cool. And then I piped a little bit more of the black paint onto those peonies. I wanted to cover up the orange. I didn't like it. And here's the final reveal. Look at all that color. Look at all that texture. Isn't that fun? So anyways, at the end of this painting, I felt pretty good. I was like, okay, I can do anything. I can even make cool stuff when I'm just doing weird, chaotic art. So I figured I could just organize my house and feel better, and I did. So in the end, I just felt a lot better, and that was pretty cool. That was kind of the goal. And a plus side, I even made something cool, which was kind of extra. But thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, you guys. Goodbye.